that up because how we manage our dispensary. So I am always like the first thing I do when I come into my office is I look at how much product we have on the shelf. And sometimes it can get really overwhelming and other times it looks really bare. And it's about finding that balance all the time. And even my administrative assistant, she's like, well, if you don't have it in stock, I know you don't want to keep a whole ton of supplements on the shelf, but if you don't have it in stock, you have to get your patients to come back and pick it up. And that could also be interpreted as bad business practice as well. Now, very rarely have we had somebody ever complain about that, which is lucky, or maybe they just didn't disclose it. But I would really strongly recommend for those that are wanting to have an in-office dispensary, keep it as small as humanly possible. I often will keep the products that I know I can sell and I sell very quickly on the shelf. The other products that are more specialized or that you can find at just about any health food store, I usually leave to them and I'll have my patients go out and buy that. Or here's the option that you can also have a merged dispensary. There's no reason why you can't have some products in office and be using services like FullScript to manage some of the more perhaps not widely used, but used enough and give people a resource. Because my biggest fear and my biggest worry that I talk to my students about is people are very sort of like in the now, I have to start making those changes right away, or as soon as they walk out the door, they can often forget. So I'd love to also talk about, as a pro, it's nice to have the supplements they walk out with and there you go. As a con, for an online dispensary, it could be that now the patients have to put it into their own hands to go online and find the right products and order them that way. So I'd love to hear your thought on that and how people can navigate around like not having as much downtime. Because if a patient forgets and you have an appointment in 2 weeks and they haven't even started the supplements, that can also become a problem.
Absolutely. And that's a really good point. And I like how you brought up the hybrid approach, and you could, have a couple products in your office that turn over relatively quickly, and then use the online dispensary for the other options. So I know specifically with FullScript, a practitioner can choose to check the patient out on the spot or email or text message them a recommendation for them to do it in their own time. So when I'm talking with practitioners and they're opting for the virtual dispensary approach, if they do have the support staff, I do encourage them to try that in-office checkout option, specifically for what you just said. So that way you're not leaving it up to the patient to forget or just miss it somehow, and then the protocol you've just prescribed for them suffers, or their health suffers because they're not doing what you're telling them to do. So in that particular situation, if they place the order on the spot for the patient, the products then ship directly to them in 2 or 3 days. So that's always an approach that works. The other side of this that I just heard you mention as well is refills and follow-up products, and patients having to come back to the practice to purchase those if you're solely, and if you just have that in-office option. And that's also something that we have seen the virtual dispensary help. We live in an online world. People are very used to buying products online. So if you do have this virtual dispensary, like FullScript, they can easily go into the dispensary to purchase those products, so they don't have to walk into the office to pick them up. So it helps them, and it also helps the practitioner, because a lot of times I've found, just in talking with practitioners, some of those patients don't even come back to the practitioner to purchase those products.
Right.
So that's definitely something else to consider.
And that's such a valid point. And there was a few things that kind of came into my mind, and hopefully I didn't cut you off there. I apologize.
No. I was wrapping it up.
It is, there are, and so again, we're just having more of an open dialogue around this, not picking one side or the other. But I know that there's a lot of companies, and a lot of companies I use, that will also do drop shipping to patients. Now, what I've found is, and just because the cost of life has gone up, the cost of shipping has also gone up. What I would say would be in the favor of an online dispensary is now you can have multiple items from multiple companies being shipped, one shipping fee to the patient, if I'm understanding that correctly. versus if I was using Metagenics and Zymogen and Thorne and I didn't have any of those products in stock and I wanted to ship them to the person, they're now paying 3 different shipping fees.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. If the patient is purchasing from the online dispensary, everything will be packaged in one box and sent to them. And honestly, ultimately, you got to figure out what works for you. And you're lucky that there are a lot of options these days.
Yes.
You know?
And in Ontario, more so than in any other province, to my knowledge, because a lot of those companies are based in Ontario. So I'll hear even if they're out east, it can take 5 to 7 days to get products just shipped out there to begin with. So, that's all something that needs to be taken into consideration.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And I've talked to any number of practitioners that do the option you were suggesting as well. Will actually drop ship the patient to the patient on, pick stuff from their dispensary, put it in a package and ship it out to their patient. But again, that's just something else that you have to do, which, if you have the staff and the manpower to do it, then it may not be as much of an issue. But if you don't, it's a little harder.
So just again, full disclosure to everyone, I personally love and advocate having an in-office dispensary, but doing it very smart. And where I've seen practitioners literally lose their shirt or not be able to keep up with credit card bills or not be able to pay their staff because their money's tied up in inventory is overstocking inventory. So I encourage everyone, if you do have an in-office dispensary that you are stocking and managing, that you find ways of making that stock go down as quickly as humanly possible, or just be much more strategic about how you are purchasing your supplements, how often you are doing it. Sometimes we will make an order with a company 2 or 3 times in a week, but at least we've sold the product that we purchased. So that is just the big sort of mission or lesson or warning that I'm offering anybody who's listening to this. It can pay off very well, but if that money is tied up on the shelf, that is money that is not serving anybody and it's already out of your pocket or on your credit card. So that can become a big sort of balancing act. So shifting now into the online space fully, and this is where I know, Debra, you are the queen. So let's jump into it. I would love to hear, other than what we've already touched on, how else can FullScript or online dispensaries save a practitioner time and money?
Well, when I'm talking with a practitioner about FullScript, I basically say we're your free virtual employees because FullScript is a free service. So it costs practitioners no money to create their account. They then have access to about more brands than they could ever carry in the in-office dispensary. On top of that, if your patients are purchasing through your FullScript dispensary and they have an issue with the product or they want to return it, they call FullScript. They don't call you. So we're really there to facilitate the dispensing of your supplements 100%. You don't have to deal with credit card fees. We don't even bill practitioners back credit card fees. So, the transaction would happen on the FullScript platform. And then you make the portion of the sales and then we, just pay you out weekly via direct deposit. So it definitely simplifies, the dispensing in those ways. In addition, you also have visibility into what you're recommending. So you do get to know the products that turn over quickly and the ones that you like. So you can more easily try something you may not have tried otherwise because you don't have to invest in it first. And then you can decide if you like it. So that's just another aside that I've found has really helped practitioners.
Now, one of the key features that I love to offer a couple times a year are flash sales. I love offering flash sales on supplements just to, number one, move a lot off my shelves. Mm-hmm. So my question to you is, I'm able to host my supplements on basically an online storefront that I can do with my software. Could I link my online dispensary to my website and have my patients go there and purchase their products if they wanted to? Is that a feature that FullScript offers?
Oh my goodness, absolutely. We provide you with website buttons when you create your store that you can put on your website. Someone can click, they can then log into your dispensary and make a purchase. In addition, you can certainly offer flash sales if you want. We actually did a test this year during Cyber Monday. And we reached out to our practitioners and said, hey, if anyone is interested in offering a sale for Cyber Monday, here's what you can do, or here's how you can do it in your FullScript store. So a lot of practitioners tried that, and we saw that like one of the biggest days for us. So I know, and we got a lot of response back to practitioners that were saying, oh my goodness, thank you, that was so good. And for me as well. So that's the other thing we do offer is we, work one-on-one with our practitioners if they're interested and give questions and ideas to help grow their business.
Yeah.
If they're interested.